its wings.
You see, true. You see, government is, one can talk to the Punjab government, one can talk to the Ministry of Environment. They have got this kind of activities where they can be supported. But the question is the technology mature enough to be marketed? And one should realize that the technology which are built at the laboratories have long way to go before it is adopted in the commercial one. Okay. So until unless the proven technology is adopted in the market, it will not be commercialized.
But Dr. Aswal, who will do it? Who do we expect to do this? Who is the person or the institute who can be expected to do this? And what is the role that the government has? Can you not promote research and development?
Yes, we are promoting it. You see, so anytime they want a quality assessment of the products, so they can come to National Physical Laboratory, we can provide them the measurements which they want to do.
Well, would you, okay, one moment. Let me then end this part of the discussion with you by asking you this basic question. Don't you think that there has to be an element of urgency to be shown from the government to make sure that these things happen? They see the light of the day. Engage with them more. Do you think we need to show this urgency and not just restrict the conversation around this topic only for these 3 months?
No, it's not that. Government is showing urgency. Government has already supported National Physical Laboratory in terms of setting up the primary scales for measurement of pollutants, in showing that they are the correct pollutants. The government has already supported farmers by happy seeders and so many in situ use of the stubbles.
Well, happy seeders and all, you know, Dr. Aswal, are not very easy solutions. They require high investment which the farmer will not be able to incur. I am talking about solutions where the farmer might end up earning money and thus he'll be lured into not burning the crop. Anyway, see, this can go on and on. So, Dr. Aswal, I'll come back to you. I want to introduce K. Siddhartha. Mr. Siddharth, see, you have heard the conversation. You've heard people who are the, the pollution solution men and women. Then you've got the perspective from the government also, which feels that there is an exaggeration of this amount, perhaps to spread a sense of panic. I do not know. I would like you to elaborate, Dr. Aswal. Why are companies trying to do this? Maybe to sell their air purifiers, or maybe to create a sense of panic so that people buy more commodities? I don't know what you implied when you said that. But K. Siddhartha, all of that aside, pollution is a problem.
Yes, definitely.
It is
and a much bigger problem.
It's a big problem. Yeah.
It concerns the future generation. It concerns the mindset of the generation. It concerns the health of the people. It concerns the way their mind is developing it. It concerns the way that will go on to make our society sustainable. It concerns the amount of disease that will go on to impregnate in our society and the consequence of managing that disease like cancer and all of those things. It concerns that our mind will be cluttered by thinking about how to solve this problem every time rather than thinking of something creative. It concerns us also because of the fact that we go on to use technology. Technology solves one problem, but it creates 10 more problems of sorts. So it concerns a lot of things. Pollution is a deadly problem, and we can go on to understand that is pollution has never affected the mankind other than this modern paradigm of a development that has been inserted into India by most of these Western countries and their aspects. Just going to take into account.
No, Mr. Siddharth, I just want to know from you. See, I have been covering pollution woes in the national capital and also the whole of North India, particularly during these 3 months, for 5 years now, right? Pretty regularly. I consider this as a very, very important issue, and that is why wherever I have worked, whatever I have done, for this period, we are duty bound to give all the information to the people, correct?
Yes.
I have noticed that the period or time frame has been increasing. Over these past 5 years only, I have seen that what was earlier beginning, say, in the month of November, has now started in October, right? Has now started building up in the early parts of October. So, far from reducing, obviously it seems that none of our efforts, none of the efforts of the government, of the citizenry, nothing has helped. It is not working on the ground.
I agree with you, and that's a very
Why?
good observation. See, if you can go to think of the most of these solutions that people going to think of is knee-jerk. Dust is a problem. The solution for dust problem in Delhi is very simple. Establish a brick making plant in the outskirts of the city, then pick up all the dust by the vacuumers, then go on to load them there, and that will be converted into bricks. It's as simple as that. Now, in these 5 years of time, when this you have been covering, this plant could have been easily established. But every time we come with a new form of a panicky and solution and problems and all of it. That's one part. Take another account here. That is, we could have easily inserted a crop that would have been beneficial to the farmers, as well as a crop that could have been eaten away by the animals. Now, the new straw that the farmers going to cultivate, that can't be eaten away because the amount of silica content in this crop is very high. The only solution that the farmers are going to be left it is to burn it. Essentially right now, because they won't be getting happy seeders, they won't be able to convert into plywood, it will be difficult to use balers and then transport it to the factories. So one of those things that could have easily managed is that make this straw palatable to the animals.
So this could have eat it.
Yes, so that they can eat it. This is now, some time back, this was not a problem, because all the straw that used to be manufactured and that used to be cultivated, that was palatable to the animals, and that used to be having a very high calorific value also. Now these don't going to be having that type of value at all. So this is something that can be done also.
Okay. Himanshu Paliwal, if you can hear me, sorry we had to cut you short the first time because of audio and video issues. But now, if you can hear me, I want to ask you this question. See, I asked a question to Dr. Aswal, and he said that commercial feasibility is very important before undertaking any project. Do you think this is exactly what ails your product? And I'm going to ask this question to Mr. Sidhu also. The commercial feasibility of using that paddy stubble as an acoustic board or a plyboard. What sort of help do you want?
Right now, we are working on the process torrefaction, but it's not the same thing that was tried before. And we have also tried to have a meeting with NABARD, and we had also presented a solution to them. So they also want some sort of pre-feasibility study done, as in, maybe if you have to set up a plant, how much revenue it would generate, and would it be profitable at all or not, and would it actually solve the problem? Because if you're removing, say, stubble from the field, it's also not sustainable farming, because you're taking away the valuable nutrients from the field. So you have to basically see a very holistic view of this entire problem. So, if you see the land in Punjab, it is already getting barren just because excessive use of fertilizers, and then just now stubble burning is destroying all the microbiome that's on the field. So it's hurting in many ways the fertility of the soil. So we have to look long term, like you said. The solution should be long term. It should not hurt the economy of the state as well. And just to point out one more study, IIT Kanpur did a study in 2016, and they pointed out that more than 50% of the pollution comes from within Delhi, and that is coming primarily from fly ash, and fly ash from two primary sources. One, the coal, the national NTPC, I think, the thermal power plants that are there in the city, and the tandoors, basically, which use coal, like I think Mr. Sidhu mentioned, for cooking purposes, restaurants, and so on. So the proper disposal of this fly ash is very essential for bringing down this problem. And definitely, I agree, from our state, Punjab and Haryana, we definitely are working towards solution for stopping, or at least reducing stubble burning by getting the processes like torrefaction.
Okay, interesting. Now, Mr. Sukhbir Sidhu, you heard a complete 360 of what each and every person had to say. And Dr. Aswal mentioned the point about feasibility. So do you think that your product too suffers from the same problem? That it's not feasible? Or its feasibility needs to be tested? Whether it can actually bring down? the pollution levels?
Okay, let me answer the question this way. In order to reduce pollution or improve air quality in the city, there are only two options. One is stop polluting. That's very important. Our pure air cleaners produce the cleanest air at the lowest cost. You know, when we innovate, when we develop technologies, it is foremost in our mind that it should be affordable. Otherwise, there's no point in spending all that money on R&D. So we have products ready now to be installed. Of course, there is a cost. But when we talk about cost, it's usually the total cost of ownership in terms of the maintenance cost, the servicing cost, and the power consumption. And if we add all that up, I believe our technology is actually very, very cost effective.
Okay. My final word to Dr. Aswal. Dr. Aswal, you started by saying that the figures of the air quality index by various private agencies are jacked up, are marked up. I would now want to know from you the reason why. Why is it that, according to you, they exaggerate the pollution number?
You see, I don't think they exaggerate. The whole problem is coming because of the measurement processes. And if you look technically, they are measured by beta attenuation decay method. And if your equipment is not calibrated, you are likely to overrate them. So it is not that people are manipulating, in my opinion. It is essentially they do not know how to calibrate their equipment and how, if the measurements are there, whether they are correct or not. So for that, the Government of India, Ministry of Environment and Forest, they have entrusted us to set up the primary standard, and therefore we can calibrate all the equipment in the country, those are dealing with the PM 2.5 as of now. Regarding other gases like carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide and other gases, we are going to set up the primary standard with the help of National Physical Laboratory UK, and that will be ready within next 2 years' time. So in this way, we can measure we can calibrate all the equipment in the country, and therefore they will give the same uniform value. So this is one issue. But okay, I also worry about the kind of pollution we have got. Even it is 180, it is higher on site, and the source abatement is one of the way by which we can reduce the pollution. Now, if the emitting, like thermal power plants, when the emitting pollutions are measured correctly, at source we can abate them, we can mitigate them. So that could be one of the solutions. Okay, for Punjab farmers, there are other solutions. So each of the sources, they need to have a different way of abatement. But whatever technology we adopt, that should be commercially viable, which I am saying again and again.
Okay, okay. Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sukhbir Sidhu, Dr. D.K. Aswal, Himanshu Paliwal, Professor of IIT Ropar, as well as Mr. K. Siddhartha, is an environmental expert, always has great insight on various subjects. Thank you very much. We're stopping for a short break at this moment, but don't go anywhere, because up next is a story which brings pride to every Indian.